Tracy Alford is CEO of the Effies Worldwide, and Jay Goodman is the board chair, as well as the founder and CEO of Super Connector Studios. We connected right after the award show when all the awards had been handed out and the calm had returned to the room. We pulled them both aside to talk about their impressions of the gala night and about the importance of marketing effectiveness. Enjoy. One thing that I'm sort of struck by is we're at an effectiveness awards in our world of marketing, and there's a lot of conversation going around about effectiveness. So I'm curious. Maybe you start with you, Jay. Um, is the work getting increasingly better in terms from an effectiveness point of view?
Yes. I think it's safe to say, although you could check me on this, and I have raging confirmation bias, but effectiveness is having a great moment. Effectiveness has always mattered. This is Effie's 56th year.
Wow.
We're in 125 countries. So the world is focused on marketing effectiveness and has been for a very long time. It does really seem it could be the very dynamic moment we're in as a global economy. It could be shifts in media. Everybody got very addicted to performance for a while. They watched their brand scores drop. Suddenly, brand is a thing again. And when you need to measure your overall balanced marketing portfolio, there's really ultimately only one measure. Did it work? Did we sell more shoes? Did we sell more museum tickets? Did we
Yeah.
sell more Puerto Rican rum? And ultimately, that's effectiveness. And we have a really time tested, but also evolved over time, essentially algorithm and process to have the best marketers in the world judge the best marketing in the world. So, yes, it's having a moment. It's always been important,
Yeah.
but it does seem like we're being asked a lot more to help marketers understand if their work worked.
Yeah.
One of the things, Tracy, that we hear a lot on the show, and you guys hear about it too. It's the idea that marketing principles that were really popular overseas were trying to be imported into the U.S. It's beginning to happen a lot more now. I mean, there's been market mix modeling for a long time, but the principles of Ehrenberg Bass, the principles that have come over from Bennett and Field,
Mm-hmm.
and now Warwick has brought some new thinking with a U.S. based approach. All of that just seems to be sort of influencing this sense that we, although we've always known it,
Yeah.
that we have tools to help us be increasingly confident in results.
I think that's true. I think that's accurate. What's interesting, though, is if you look at the range of cases in the United States, there's far more references to return on investment to other parts of the world. So I think we need to be careful when we talk about measurement and what does that really mean. So it means different things to different people. And so I think just having awareness around when you think about effectiveness, it actually comes down to what you need to achieve for the portfolio or the brand or the business or the behavior that you want to change. And I think, the US is the biggest marketing community in the world. But what we are seeing, going back to your original question for Jay, is that we are growing everywhere, double digits.
Mm.
So it's not just an American thing; it's happening everywhere in the world. And I think you're right. I think it's probably a moment of time. I think it's probably been building over time, but I do think there is more pressure to articulate and understand what does the marketing community do and deliver, and effectiveness should be at the heart of that piece of what every marketeer does. Because if it's not effective, it's not marketing.
Yeah, yeah. So Jay, when you look at the body of work that was judged this year, anything strike you in terms of themes?
If there's one thing I saw, it's that I didn't see one thing over and over again.
Yeah.
As our conversation before is, I think there was the broadest variety of type of brand. Sure, we have lots of different product categories
Yep.
and service categories, so in some ways we're built for that. But there wasn't a consistent theme in what was winning. Marketers are using a really broad variety of aspects of marketing in order to land with really effective campaigns,
Yeah.
which I think is a great sign
Yeah.
for the industry.
What I do think is interesting. So if I look at the final golds that went in for the grand, what they all had was fundamental marketing discipline. So you had
Mm.
the Blood Appetit, tiny budget in Chicago,
Yeah.
very focused. Something like Verizon, both of them were exceptional cases, beautifully written, but they were so tightly executed and they excelled at every single one of our pillars. And I think that's, for me, is the real insight, is that when you want to be truly effective, you need to excel at every part of what you do
Yeah.
and
Because
be very, very thorough. And
Yeah, and it
they
doesn't
were like
require.
textbook. I mean, and that was the discussion and the debate in the room was, it's like, this is just exactly as marketing should be.
Yeah, because that could have been a really expensive campaign. I mean, it was just the purity of the idea cut through whether or not it needed budget. I mean, it just worked really well. It was like the perfect execution of that
It's
idea.
grounded in the basics of marketing. And I
Yeah.
think often as marketeers, we're a little guilty running out the next shiny thing. And it's not that we don't need to keep on top of all those things like technology, et cetera, but never, ever forget the basics. Never.
Just
Okay.
following on your thought about just taking two of the 10 great finalists, but the two you mentioned. So Verizon is a billion, if not multi-billion-dollar advertiser. And then we had this, they said the number out loud, I think it was a $60,000 budget. So to be very clear, the Effie evaluative criteria do not weight, WEIGHT, do not weight for size and
Yes,
scale.
yes.
So it's not that the Field Museum fought above its media weight, to use the same word again, and therefore it deserved to be there. It's that that case study was as good. Those fundamentals were as good. The breakthrough aspects of it were as good as a huge advertiser who also didn't get an advantage or a disadvantage based on how big they are. So money didn't matter.
Yes,
In
yes.
fact, they had to prove that they used the money incredibly well. So to answer your question, to the biggest marketers in the world and the people who just got handed a brief with $0 attached to it, you could be standing here next year winning the Grand Effie.
Thank you. Tracy Alford is global CEO of Effie's, and Jay Goodman is board chair and founder and CEO of Superconnector Studios. Thank you both for your time, and thank you for everything you do
Thank you,
for
Thank you,
Fergus.
Fergus.
for the Effies. We're thrilled
Yeah,
to
it's
have
an
been
honor
here.
to be here. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.